Right now on Sunrise, JCPS officials addressing some areas of concern at the board meeting, things like cell phone policies, how that could impact students. Another community meeting for those impacted by the factory plant explosion in the Clifton neighborhood. Some neighbors say they still have a number of issues. And you may have noticed a bumpy ride around the city. All that winter weather causing potholes everywhere. How they're handling them and just how many they're fixing.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Yeah, I had to hit two massive potholes this morning.
Oh.
I was like, I'm up now.
Yeah, you know the ones that make you just turn off the music and reevaluate your life? I had a few of those yesterday, so be careful, y'all, as you're heading out this morning. What we're dealing with right now, of course, those temperatures still in the 30s and 40s. 34 in Bedford, 37 in Fort Knox, 40 at the airport in Louisville, but 32 right now in Frankfort. So it does look like we all need the jackets and the coats again this morning, but you certainly will not need them all day. As of right now, we do have a few clouds drifting overhead, and that is it. More clouds rolling in once we head into this afternoon, and temperatures still, though, going to climb into the upper 60s and the low 70s. We do have that isolated rain chance for the midday time frame because of a warm front moving through then, but it's later on this evening after sunset that our rain chances really go up with the other cold front. And ahead of that cold front, we are going to be talking about some more of these wind gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. So a windy and warm day, that is for sure. We'll be cooler as we round out the work week, and then straight up chilly once we get into the upcoming weekend. So there you go, Olivia. Another chilly Sunday in the books for you.
Yeah, right once we had a little taste of spring, but that is just Kentucky weather. Can't say that enough. Let's talk about Louisville traffic, though, because everything's looking green on our traffic map right now. Just have some cars pulled over along 64, I-71, and I-265. So we're checking in on this car pulled over on I-65. It looks like it's headed eastbound. It's that truck right there with its lights on right there at the Preston Highway exit. So it's off to the shoulder in between right there at the exit. So please keep an eye on that. Again, this is the same spot someone had an issue yesterday. So you're probably used to seeing this. This is now 2 days in a row in the same spot. But again, not causing issues. It's an easy Wednesday morning commute. What day is it, Shannon?
All right. Thank you. JCPS leaders are working on a new policy to deal with cell phones in the classroom. It was a big topic at that board meeting last night. Josh Ninke's in the studio with more on the discussion.
Yeah, Shannon, the board is debating a new policy, but it turns out there's already one on the books, and it's just not being enforced. So the current policy says, quote, students shall not use, activate, and or display a personal telecommunication device on school property during the course of the instructional day unless a school or council has been granted a waiver. 10 schools did receive a waiver for a single year, but that was a decade ago. Now leaders are working up a new version. They're considering whether to have students put their devices in something like a bag during instruction or to just prohibit them completely during class. They're also considering the option of letting schools set their own policy. Outgoing Superintendent Dr. Marty Pollio had this to say about a potential cell phone ban.
I believe the right course of action is to minimize or get rid of all cell phones out of kids in the classroom as much as we possibly can. I really think that's important. But I also want this board to know it's just not a clean, okay, they're gone, and we should never see them again.
There's a chance this could get taken out of the district's hands, too. A potential statewide ban has been proposed in the Kentucky General Assembly. The goal is to have a potential new policy ready for a vote in May and then in place for JCPS in August. Live in the studio, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thanks, Josh. And a small group of lawmakers claims that parents are sick and tired of NTI days in Kentucky schools, so they are backing a bill to get rid of them. The bill would scratch out the part of Kentucky statutes that specifically allows schools to have an NTI plan when weather or disease hit. Many parents we talked to say it's not a perfect setup, but NTIs are worth keeping. They say they can be improved, though, to better serve districts. Kentucky school districts have 10 NTI days in the bank. Lawmakers like State Representative Stephen Doan, a co-sponsor of the bill 737, says districts are dipping too much in this well. Parents say a lot of students don't even want to go back to the way it was before.
That it snows and that school's canceled, I get texts from all over my district of parents saying, look, you've got to do something about these days. they're getting used too often.
She was like, oh, absolutely not. She was like, I'd much rather sit at home and do the work, and I was like, okay, and that's how I would prefer it too.
Right now, the bill's just been introduced. Representative Doan says he's confident it will get the support it needs to pass. Superintendent Pollio is set to give his final State of the District address today. That'll be at 11:30 at the Olmsted today. It'll be live streamed on JCPS's Facebook and YouTube. Pollio is retiring this summer. JCPS is currently searching for his replacement. More than 100 days have now gone by since the deadly explosion rocked the Clifton neighborhood. But some of the problems are still lingering. Clifton community leaders held another meeting to give and get information on the response after the Givaudan plant explosion. Officials provided new information about investigations and the future of that site. Givaudan has said that they will not rebuild there. People who live in the neighborhood brought some frustrations about the company's response to this meeting, and they also talked about the city's disjointed response.
No one is talking to each other. There is not one point person that knows what is going on with the city, with Givaudan, with the neighborhood. And I don't feel like it is too much to ask for someone at the city to basically have this as their pet project.
Louisville's chief arson investigator says we should expect a report from the ATF in roughly a month, and a report from the Kentucky Occupational Safety and Health Program will follow. Councilman Andrew Owen said there will be another meeting at a later date. The ACLU wants the Kentucky Supreme Court to protect an organization that helps pay people's bail. Madeline Trout's family is suing the Bail Project. Trout was hit and killed by a man after the Bail Project posted his bond a week earlier. The case has been dismissed twice. It is now in the hands of the state Supreme Court. The ACLU and research organization KY Policy submitted a brief to the court arguing there should not be any restrictions on bail. The ACLU says everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and there should not be any limitations. New pictures and video show the fire that destroyed dozens of units at a New Albany storage facility. The fire happened at National Storage Units along Charlestown Road just after 6:30 last night. The New Albany Fire Department says it took crews about 45 minutes to get those flames under control. Fire crews believe 30 units were destroyed. No one was hurt. The Indiana State Fire Marshal is now investigating the cause. Investigators are working to determine what caused that gas leak in downtown Louisville that led to several buildings, including Metro Hall, to be evacuated. The gas leak was at 5th and Jefferson Streets. Those streets were closed. An 8-inch natural gas line was leaking. Officials do not know what caused it. They say there is no longer any danger in the area, but they're still looking into what happened. State officials announced another death as Kentucky flooding recovery continues. 23 people have died. Many Kentucky communities are still dealing with the aftermath of the recent flooding, including the city of Hazard. Utility crews have been working to restore areas with clean water. Hazard was also facing a boil water advisory. People say it's been tough, but they're trying to stay strong.
See the community like this, nobody wants to see it, but we'll get back together. We'll recuperate. We always do.
Also, FEMA officials are on the ground in eastern Kentucky helping those impacted. Well, you felt it, I'm sure, while driving around town. I'm talking about all those potholes. Winter weather has left a lot of them. So right now, the Louisville pothole repair teams have been out and about this week while the weather is nicer, making repairs. If you see a pothole, you can call 311. Louisville road crews say they've already fixed 12,000 potholes so far this year. And those especially who use scooters to get around downtown say it's causing problems for them.
Be really challenging. The potholes are really posing an interesting situation. You're having to dodge them, but also being aware of the traffic around you.
Metro crews say they usually fix about 40,000 potholes in the entire year. Okay, here's Duana taking us through the next 12 hours.
And as we head over the next 12, we'll watch those temperatures jumping back into the upper 60s and low 70s for your highs. So some pretty warm weather for today. Windy weather as well before we have to deal with wet weather. Yes, more rain coming into the forecast. Let you know when after the break.
Thanks, Tawana. A new bill would change where and how some pets can be sold. What lawmakers say about that. Plus, a battle between chefs will happen this weekend. Who will take home the Gravy Cup for the best biscuits and gravy? Marissa Burke is there live this morning with more coming up.
Now, Wave News.
Good morning, 6:12 right now, and this weekend chefs will be battling over who will take home the award for the best biscuits and gravy. It's the 12th annual Gravy Cup. It's the largest biscuits and gravy competition globally, and Marissa Burke is there live this morning, and plus it helps a really great cause too.
Yes, it helps out the Boys and Girls Haven. So while everybody is tasting or trying to figure out which place has the best biscuits and gravy, they're also doing this for a great cause. I'm here with Nick Brewer and Mike Brown. Nick, tell us a little bit about how the money helps the Boys and Girls Haven.
Yeah, so there are close to 8,000 children in foster care in Kentucky alone. That's a lot of kids. Boys and Girls Haven serves over 500 of those kids and families every year. We support children and families through the entire foster care process, all the way from birth until their journey to independence when they turn 21 in Kentucky and need to learn, some more life skills and how to be independent in the community. So that's a lot of the work we do, and Gravy Cup is a really, really fun way to fundraise for our agency and to support these kids.
And it just keeps building that community, and just tossing it over to you, Mike, just that partnership just means a lot to not just them, but I mean the Gravy Cup too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we can't do it without the sponsors. So Roppel Industries is our key sponsor this year. We've got Wirecrafters, we've got Horton Fruit Company, and we've got Sternberg Automotive. So those companies are a big part of this because the dollars only go so far. We only get so much funding. So that extra bit of it, plus ticket sales, donations, all those things. So when you come to the Gravy Cup, you come to have a good time, but you've got to remember that ticket, the drinks you might have, that donation goes such a long way.
Absolutely. And guys, behind the scenes, we all did get to taste Monarch's biscuits and gravy, and y'all got a lot to compete with. I'm just saying, that has set the bar. And you said, how many chefs are going to be there again, Mike?
So we'll have roughly 35 chefs, and some of them will make 2 kinds of gravy, 3 kinds of gravy. So if you show up, don't eat breakfast, come with an empty stomach, and just get ready because it's so much fun. And we love the Monarch style, but those non-traditionals, those really creative gravies are there too. So you're going to have biscuits and gravy like you've never had before.
And when is all that again?
So we're March 1st. Melwood Art Center kicks off at 9 a.m. and runs till noon.
And for more information, you can visit gravycup.com. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Thank you. Did they put beer in that Monarch gravy?
Ooh.
I wonder.
I'm not telling you.
Oh, okay. Because it's a brewery, so I was wondering. That would, okay.
It's a secret, Shannon.
Yes. I can't believe when she said March 1st, I thought, oh, and then I had to look at the date.
That's this weekend. Yeah.
Crazy.
Listen, the year is flying on by.
I know it.
Especially with all the crazy weather we've had lately, it's kind of hard to keep track of what day it is, much less what month it is. So trust me, we're all with you. What we're seeing right now across the area, high pressure in control. But we have this system off towards our west. It's going to bring some warmth, some wind, and then some rain into our forecast. So let's talk a little bit more about what we're seeing right now. We are seeing a few clouds drifting overhead as we're patiently waiting for the first bits of sunlight to come up over the horizon. Not seeing that just yet on our SkyTrack camera in Simpsonville, but as we head over the next half an hour, we certainly will. Now, your temperatures are in those 30s and low 40s to start off the day. 40 degrees at the airport in Louisville, 41 for those of you in Paoli and in Lebanon, but it's 32 in Frankfort and into North Vernon. Same thing for those of you in E-Town. The wind not doing much this morning. Calm in most locations, but as we head over the next 12 hours, what we're going to see, that wind really picking up, especially after that warm front moves through. We're going to see those wind gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour. So today is an updo kind of day. Just going to throw it out there right now. What we're going to see as the day continues as well, more of these clouds increasing as that warm front moves through. We are going to watch for a few isolated showers, especially between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. for those of you further to the north in southern Indiana. This is where we can get a couple of those isolated showers. But overall, most of us going to be dry for the daytime hours as temperatures jump into the upper 60s and the low 70s. Then we get past 7 p.m. Here comes that cold front moving through, bringing more of that rain back into our forecast. Going to keep that rain chance through the evening hours into very early tomorrow morning. By the time we reach around 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, the majority of that rain will be long gone, but we're still going to keep some clouds around for the first half of your Thursday. So how much rain are we looking at? Around 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of rainfall. So this is not a lot of heavy rainfall that's in our forecast, but certainly something that could impact you if you're going to be out and about later on this evening, or maybe you work third shift. Once we get into tomorrow morning, we're talking 30s and low 40s for our temperatures then. Behind the front, we're going to be substantially cooler for your Thursday afternoon as well, with highs only in the 50s. Now for Friday, we'll try to warm back up just a bit before yet another front moves through. This one going to kick up the wind again on your Saturday and drop your temperatures down. We're talking 40s for highs on Saturday, upper 30s and low 40s for highs on Sunday, despite the fact that we do have quite a bit of sunshine to end the weekend. And we're going to see those highs trying to warm up for the first half of next week out ahead of our next system. Now we have the alert day still out for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. That's still the time frame that we're watching for the potential for heavy rain and the chance for some strong storms as well as this area of low pressure moves into and through the area. We'll have to keep an eye on how much of that colder air can wrap around that low, though, because that will influence whether or not we get any wintry weather on the backside of this. As of right now, that chance not looking too high, but we are still watching it. Now, for the end of next week, calmer, cooler across the region with those highs returning to the 40s and 50s.
Thank you, Tawana. And breaking this morning on Sunrise, the Vatican has released its latest update on how Pope Francis is doing. Here's Olivia to tell us what they're saying in this breaking news alert.
And it was a short statement this morning saying, quote, the Pope had a peaceful night and is resting. Yesterday, the 88-year-old pontiff was well enough to meet with Vatican officials to approve new decrees for possible saints and make some major governing decisions. This suggests he's getting essential work done despite being hospitalized in critical condition with double pneumonia. Doctors had listed the Pope in critical condition at Rome's hospital with double pneumonia, but reported a slight improvement in some laboratory results. People all over the world have been praying for his recovery, from Rome to his home in Argentina, even here in Louisville. Shannon.
That's right. Thank you, Olivia. Yes, they did gather to pray for Pope Francis yesterday. The Archdiocese of Louisville held this special Mass of healing for the Holy Father at Holy Family Catholic Church.
And I think this gathering, thousands of miles from Rome, reminds us that none of us are alone in our illness, and also reminds the Holy Father that he is not alone in his illness either.
Archbishop Fabre says he's met Pope Francis twice, most recently in Rome in 2023. He said he was struck by the Pope's smile and warmth. Pope Francis has been in the hospital since February 14th. 619 movement in Washington over the latest budget resolution. How Kentucky lawmakers are reacting to the passing of the budget ahead on Sunrise.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots.
A New York firehouse collapsed due to the weight of snow, and it was all captured on camera here. Look at the top of your screen. The Barnveld firehouse collapsed under all of that snow Saturday afternoon. This was taken, oh, wow. So that image right there taken from a vet's office right across the street. 2 people were actually inside the building when that happened. Thank goodness they were able to escape. Wow. Well, we're looking at all of that snow melting, especially as we're going to hit 70 today.
Yeah, we are going to be incredibly warm as we head into this afternoon. So any little last bits of snow that may be holding on to hope, yeah, those are going to be gone before the day is done. What we're dealing with right now across the area, those 30s and 40s, will end up near 70 this afternoon, a windy day ahead. Now, looking ahead to later on this evening, this is when we'll see a few more of those rain showers coming our way, moving out before sunrise tomorrow. Tomorrow will be cooler with highs in the 50s. We'll be back into the 60s on Friday, then we'll drop right back down into the 40s on Saturday because of a front moving through then. Even colder temperatures expected Sunday before we warm right back up into the 50s and 60s by the middle of next week, and that will come along with the potential for heavy rain and strong storms, and that is why we still have that alert day in place for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning.
Thanks, Tawana. Republican lawmakers in the House approved a budget resolution that will advance many of the goals President Trump set. The bill will create $4.5 trillion in tax breaks and $2 trillion in spending cuts. All Democrats and one Kentucky Republican, Thomas Massie, voted against the resolution. Kentucky Republican Andy Barr praised the budget, saying in a social media post, it will cut wasteful spending, secure the border, and bring economic strength. Kentucky Democrat Morgan McGarvey says the plan will pay for tax cuts to billionaires by cutting funding to Medicaid, SNAP, and other critical programs. The budget now moves on to the Senate. And President Trump signed more executive orders in the Oval Office. The first strips the security clearances for attorneys at a Washington, D.C. law firm that assisted Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the president. And he signed 2 other orders. One regards copper imports and protecting the American manufacturer. Then another order regards price transparency in the healthcare industry. The president also answered questions on some topics, including the email sent to federal employees and a new gold card the president is pitching to replace the U.S. investor visa. JCPS debating a cell phone ban in classrooms. Josh Dinky will have details on what was discussed, plus what the superintendent says about it.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
All right, if you can, try to sneak out of the office early today.
Oh, well, I mean,
because it's going to be so nice.
Yeah, we're not always advocating.
Right. No.
However, today wouldn't be the worst day to do it if you did.
Right.
So we're going to word it that way.
Right.
For those of you heading out today, we are seeing the chilly temperatures, yes, to start things off this morning, but it's this afternoon that's going to be very nice. Right now, looking at our SkyTrack camera from downtown Louisville, looking to the east, starting to see the first bits of sunlight now over the horizon. Now, that sunshine plus the fact that we have, of course, those warmer temperatures coming our way, going to make for a great day. As of right now, though, you need the jackets because we're still seeing those temperatures mainly in the 30s across our region, a couple of upper 20s and low 40s sprinkled in between those 30s. But basically, everyone chilly to start off the day. As we head throughout the day as well, we'll get a little bit more of that sunshine. So as you're heading out and about, you are really going to watch those temperatures jumping to near 70 degrees. So while you may need the jacket this morning, you may need the shorts later on this afternoon and the sunglasses for everything in between. Now, the other thing that we'll have to watch, the wind and the rain. Now, the wind today is going to be gusting to near 30 miles per hour coming out of the southwest. That's also going to help with the warming trend, and that comes out ahead of a cold front that moves in for later on this evening, helping to bring some more of those rain showers back into our forecast. So a lot to watch just over the next 12 to 24 hours, but hey, at least we have some warm and windy conditions coming our way, so we feel like spring for just a bit, Olivia.
Just give you a little taste of it before the Mother Nature whips it right back. We do have a traffic alert for you right now as we take a live look at I-65 northbound. Right as you are getting to Eastern Parkway, you can see that car with its flashers on. Yep, that disabled vehicle blocking the left-hand lane there, giving people some trouble there because it goes from 3 lanes down to 2, and not much of a heads up there, so it's creating quite a backup. Those icons kind of blocking it, but it is red, showing just how slow those speeds are. Other than that, not dealing with much around the metro. Seems like everything is all green, and as we check our metro traffic cameras, yeah, you can see the speeds at 65 at Arthur Street. That sensor picking up on 28 miles per hour. Everywhere else is looking good right now. Showing 64 at the junction, also slow right now, down to 28 miles per hour. Not sure what's going on with that, but everything else looking good so far this morning. Shannon.
Thanks, Olivia. Cell phones could be banned in JCPS classrooms this fall. The district is taking a look at their policies, and they hope to have a new one in place by August. Josh Dinky's in the studio with more on what they're discussing.
And Shannon, a few JCPS schools have their own versions of cell phone bans, and the district is considering applying those to every single school. They talked a lot at their meeting last night about Fern Creek High School. The school came up with its own plan and implemented it this past year. The property is a phone-free zone all day, with the exception of a single designated table at lunch. Students put their phones in a pouch that actually locks at the start of the day. JCPS has its own policy, but it's not being enforced right now, and many employees don't even know it exists. Superintendent Marty Polio fully supports keeping cell phones out of the classroom, but he says it's tough to make a policy that works.
Big one is, do you want a standardized district policy versus school level discretion? So I think the power of the Fern Creek model is that was organic from the school level, making decisions based on what was best for their community. The more that becomes standardized from the district level, the less buy-in there will be.
For all this, JCPS surveyed teachers on cell phones in the classroom. One of the main things they want is for parents to support whatever plan they have. They want to make sure that the parents are only reaching out to students in an absolute emergency. Now, the goal is to formulate a new policy over the next 3 months. District leaders want it in place in time for next school year. Live in the studio, Josh Stinky, Wave News.
Josh, thanks. A man faces up to 85 years in prison after shooting and killing a man in Jeffersonville and then holding 3 people hostage, including a 2-year-old girl. Christian White was convicted of murder. Prosecutors say he shot and killed Marcus Suggs at an apartment on French Street in December of 2020. He was arrested after a police standoff where he held 2 women and a child hostage. A man's in jail after LMPD says he shot at 3 people and then ran one of them over. An arrest report says Adonis Jennings was driving a car when he tried to shoot 3 people as they left a store on Elliott Avenue. None of his shots hit anyone. Police say Jennings chased a victim down an alleyway and then ran him over. The arrest report says the victim initially refused medical treatment because he was wanted by U.S. Marshals. A victim identified Jennings as a suspect and police arrested him. He is charged with assault, wanton endangerment, and leaving the scene of an accident. Volunteers of America are suing a former employee who they say put hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal expenses on a company credit card. The lawsuit claims Tiffany Hall spent more than $270,000 on the card. The suit says Hall falsified credit card charges and instead made purchases for her own personal use and benefit. Volunteers of America says that Hall should be required to pay back the organization. A bill banning some pet sales in Kentucky failed to pass out of committee. Senate Bill 122 would have banned pet sales unless the animal was from a shelter or qualified breeder. Lawmakers' votes were split. The bill's sponsor, Senator Jason Howell, says he wanted to spare businesses who follow the bill's regulations. The bill is similar to an ordinance passed in Lexington last June. Kentucky Attorney General Russell Coleman is among dozens of officials in other states urging Congress to take action to combat a nationwide rise in retail crime. The AGs sent a letter to leaders of the House and Senate asking them to pass legislation to give law enforcement the necessary tools to fight the problem and to increase federal penalties to try to stop it. Data shows Kentucky retailers lost $990 million in revenue to theft in 2022. The Kentucky Retail Federation says they lost an additional $1 billion from return fraud. The board chair, who oversees a dozen Target stores in the Commonwealth, says criminals are becoming increasingly sophisticated and also violent. He says this: it is critical that Congress take action to equip our dedicated law enforcement officers and prosecutors with the tools they need to combat this growing threat. An All-American champion gymnast and a former Major League Baseball player will host one of the Derby's premier events. Olivia Livy Dunn and Jason Worth will host that meet and greet in Sports Illustrated's Club SI. It's the luxury dining experience at Churchill Downs for the 151st running of the Oaks and Derby. The club debuted at the track last year. It was part of their $200 million paddock project renovations. Tickets are available right now. And here is Tawana taking us through the next 12 hours.
As we head over the next 12, we're going to be talking about highs trying to approach the 70-degree mark. So a warm day, that is for sure. But we have a bit of a temperature roller coaster coming our way. In fact, in a couple of days, some of you may not get out of the 30s. I'll explain why after the break.
New on Sunrise, the U.S. and Ukraine have agreed to terms on natural resources and reconstruction deal. Olivia tells us about these terms in this breaking news alert.
Yeah, that deal outlines rare earth minerals and natural resources being used to pay back what the Trump administration says is debt over aid from the United States to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia. President Trump called it a big deal that could be worth $1 trillion, but that technical amount hasn't been determined yet. The deal apparently may may end up being signed later this week in Washington. An official is saying that the White House has proposed a meeting on Friday between President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Donald Trump. A Ukrainian official said Kyiv hopes that signing the agreement will ensure the continued flow of U.S. military support that Ukraine urgently needs. This comes after tensions between President Trump and Zelensky. They've exchanged jabs over their perceptions of the Russia-Ukraine war. Shannon.
Olivia, thank you. Okay, making breakfast right now? What about biscuits and gravy? That staple will be taking over the Melwood Art Center on Saturday morning, and a lot of different chefs will be there trying to take home that coveted award for the best biscuits and gravy. Marissa Burke is there live right now, and this is going on Saturday morning starting at 9.
Absolutely the perfect time to wake up and get you some biscuits and gravy, because when I think about biscuits and gravy, I think about it one way, but at the Gravy Cup, I've been told it's going to be several different ways. So Mike, explain to us a little bit about what can people expect this weekend.
Okay, so you can expect at least 35 chefs to show up to the event. They're going to make multiple kinds of gravy. They're going to make traditional, a non-traditional, like a red-eye gravy or a vegetarian gravy. You're going to see a lot of creativity, so we're looking for appearance, flavor, texture, and creativity at the event.
Okay, and let's go ahead and bring out the real star of the show, which is this biscuits and gravy made by Francie. Francie, what can you tell us about your recipe?
Not a thing.
Okay, but what can you, okay, she's not going to tell you too many secrets, but what makes your biscuits and gravy so special?
It's a secret.
The secret is, guys, I'm going to tell you, it is really, really good. And this is your redemption year, so, guys, you're going to want to look out for Francie. And all this is happening again this weekend.
Yep, so March 1st at the Melwood Art Center, 9 a.m. to noon. Be there, live music, kids zone, bar, you name it, selfie station, we got it all.
You got it all. And then you see his hat says the gravy inspector, so just be aware if you see him, because he knows what he's talking about, guys. So maybe somebody will walk away with this coveted, the Gravy Cup, and it might end up back here at Monarch. I'm not trying to be partial. I'm just saying that, Francie, this is really good, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a spoon, and y'all might get some at the station, you might not. Marissa Burke, Wave News.
Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for might. All right, thanks, Marissa. The new season for Louisville City FC is quickly approaching, and the boys in purple will have on a new kit on the pitch this year, both designed by Puma. These are the home uniforms. They're purple with some black stripes, and then the away river kit is white with flowing gray waves. The soccer club says both designs take inspiration from Louisville and its history. You can get both of these uniforms at Lynn Family Stadium Team Store starting today, and there's the away one. I like them, and here's Tawana modeling it for us. Does it have your name on the back?
No, it does not. It does not, but you can get it personalized if you want to. But I love it. I love the holographic feature of the logo. That's one of the things that's my favorite, and it's very light, very comfortable.
Perfect for today.
Well. Exactly. So as you get through the changing seasons, we're going to get to enjoy some good soccer. But let's talk about the rain and the wind and the warmth for today in just 30 seconds. Good morning, meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast, and still wearing the Lou City kit because I love it that much. For those of you heading out right now, what we're dealing with, high pressure in control, but it's this system that's off towards our west that's going to bring in more of that rain, wind, and warmth into our forecast. As of right now, though, we're just dealing with a few clouds overhead, and that is it. We could see a few of those clouds showing up on our SkyTrack camera in Starlight, Indiana. A beautiful start to the day now that we're getting that first bit of sunlight over the horizon. A gorgeous shot of that sunrise right there. Your temperatures chilly. We're seeing temperatures ranging from 36 degrees for those of you in Hardinsburg and in LaGrange to 46 in the Salem, 40 though at the airport in Louisville, 37 for those of you in Lebanon, and 32 into Columbia. Now the wind is light. is really calm in most spots. But as we get that warm front moving through later on this morning, it's going to kick up the wind, and we're going to see that wind gusting between 20 and 30 miles per hour for today. That plus the sunshine that's in the forecast is really going to help drive those temperatures up. As we get into the late morning and then the early afternoon, especially between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., we could see a couple of isolated showers moving through portions of southern Indiana. That comes with the warm front moving through, but most of us will be dry. Once we get into later on this evening, though, after we've seen those temperatures soaring into the upper 60s and low 70s, that is when that rain will move back into our region. So after sunset, rain chances go up with the cold front pushing through. We're going to keep an eye on some of that rain lasting into the very early hours of your Thursday. And by that, I mean by the time we reach 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, most of us will be dry, and we'll see those temperatures dropping down into the 30s and low 40s. Now, not a lot of rain expected with this system, around 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of rainfall expected as we head through the overnight into early tomorrow morning. Now, we could see another batch of a few isolated showers tomorrow evening as we wait for yet another front to move through. But for your Thursday, it's all about that mix of sun and clouds and highs in the 50s. Now, on Friday, we'll warm back up, seeing some of those low 60s around then. And for Saturday, another front moving through. This is going to drive our temperatures down. Highs on Saturday only in the 40s, even colder on Sunday. So we see those temperatures dropping through the weekend, but they'll rebound back into the upper 50s and low 60s by the middle of next week, out ahead of yet another system. Now, the alert day for next Tuesday night into Wednesday morning has been around for quite a while as we are watching that potential for heavy rain and some strong storms as this massive system tracks across the country. Still watching the timing, still watching the strength of these storms, but certainly this looked to be an impactful system as we get towards the middle of next week, and that is why the alert day is out. Behind it, we'll cool back down into the 40s and 50s, so certainly dealing with quite a bit of a temperature roller coaster as well as we head over the next 10 days.
Thanks, Tawana. A resolution that would establish a Make America Healthy Again Kentucky task force is now headed to the full Senate for consideration. It is sponsored by Shelley Funk-Frommeier, who wants to integrate principles of the Trump administration's Make America Healthy Again movement in the Commonwealth. That includes reevaluating Medicaid drug approvals and scrutinizing drugs like Ozempic to make sure they're only used when really necessary. The task force wants to promote preventative therapies and alternative treatments too. They hope it'll address root causes of long-term illness instead of doctors prescribing forever medications and high-cost drugs.
We want to encourage the adoption of less invasive, more holistic treatments for conditions that are often managed with expensive pharmaceuticals, consistent with MAHA's commission focus on restoring American health over corporate profit.
If approved, the task force will be made up of 8 Kentucky legislators, 4 senators, and 4 representatives. 6 of them will be from the majority party and the other 2 from the minority party. Dare to Care says new research shows many people in Kentucky and southern Indiana have to choose between paying for food and paying their utility bills. A research project is happening now to help the organization better understand how people in our area receive food from food pantries. The data showed 65% of people who responded to the survey said they eat less because there is not enough money for food. The Exodus Ministries executive director says they've had seniors they deliver food to who add water to a can of soup to eat on for days to survive. Dare to Care is looking for more responses to this survey. You can find it on their website. Here's Olivia taking a look at the big stories we're following from around the country and the world.
Today is the deadline for the Trump administration to comply with an order to unfreeze money related to USAID. A federal judge issued a temporary restraining order on February 13th requiring the Trump administration to unfreeze State Department and USAID funding. It would be billions of dollars. The administration still has not complied with the order. President Trump issued an executive order to suspend all foreign assistance last month. More than 100 intelligence officers are being fired for allegedly participating in sexually explicit conversations in National Security Agency chat rooms. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard called it a, quote, egregious violation of trust. In addition to being fired, the officers will have their security clearances revoked. In a statement, the NSA says potential misuse of the platforms by a small group does not represent the community, adding that investigations are ongoing. And Utah is expected to be the first state to ban fluoride in public drinking water. The controversial bill passed in both the state Senate and House. Supporters of the bill say in its undiluted form, hydrofluoric acid contains hazardous material. But dental professionals argue that fluoride has been instrumental in improving dental health in children. The bill now heads to the governor's desk for his signature. Those are some of your top headlines. Shannon will have more local news coming up in your Wake Up Watch list.
Here are the top stories we're watching in today's Wake Up Watch list. JCPS Superintendent Marty Pollio is set to give his final State of the District address today. That'll begin at 11:30 a.m. at the Olmsted. It will be live streamed on both JCPS's Facebook and YouTube. The superintendent Pollio is retiring this summer. JCPS is looking for his replacement. A small group of lawmakers says that parents are sick and tired of NTI days in Kentucky schools, so they're backing a bill to get rid of them altogether. This bill would scratch out the part of Kentucky statutes that specifically allows schools to have an NTI plan when weather or disease hit. Right now, the bill's only been introduced. Louisville pothole repair teams are taking advantage of the better weather this week to try to make some repairs to all those potholes all across our area. If you have a pothole to report, you can call 311. That way crews know where to go. Metro crews say they usually fix about 40,000 potholes in the entire year. Wow. And Louder Than Life will announce its full festival lineup today. The Rock and Metal Festival will be back at the Highland Festival grounds in September. Some headliners like Slayer and Evanescence have already been announced, and the rest of the groups will be revealed at noon today. So I think I'm supposed to know one of the songs by Evanescence, but...
Oh, you should. You trust me, you know more than one. I promise you, you know more than one. And if you're rocking out to Evanescence this morning, hey, it's a great day to do that. Right now, we're seeing plenty of sunshine out there with the clear skies in many spots, but we are seeing a couple of clouds overhead. Temperatures for most of us in the 30s to start off today. As we head throughout the day, we're going to climb into the upper 60s and low 70s for highs. As clouds increase, most of us won't see rain chances until this evening, but for those of you in southern Indiana, watch that really in that 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. time frame for a couple of isolated showers moving through your region. As we head over the next 12 hours, we'll also watch that wind gusting between 20 and 30 miles per hour. We'll be cooler tomorrow, warming back up on Friday, and then chilly over the weekend before we have alert days out for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Olivia?
And we have a traffic alert right now as we are taking a live look at I-65 northbound at Great Lane, where we have a report of a vehicle on fire. You can see all that smoke. The fire department just got here about 60 seconds ago, so they must be adding water to it. And the car is right behind those flashing police lights there. So this is causing a disruption on the northbound lanes, but the fire truck is southbound, and then with that black smoke coming across the lane, I'm sure this will certainly affect traffic moving southbound as well. So please keep an eye out for that, and you can see that back up there on our traffic map. As we take a look at the rest of our metro traffic cameras, beautiful sunrise. Speeds a little bit slow in other spots, especially down on 65 at Arthur Street, or it's down to 38 miles per hour right now. But yeah, that beautiful sunrise and yesterday's beautiful weather, I keep saying it gave us that taste of spring that we really desperately needed and wanted, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
You can't. Don't. Trust me, shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I saw people yesterday wearing shorts, tank tops.
I made it time for a run. Do it again today. Why not?
All right. The Today Show is up next. Hope you have a great day. And yes, soak up that sunrise. It is beautiful. We'll see you tomorrow.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more, all for free with Wave